All right, so we'll go through a couple of things because there's stuff I was checking up on you, and there's stuff I had no idea.
There's stuff I had no idea.
You've been pretty diverse.
It's weird, ain't it?
It's surprising. First of all, I didn't realize I'd actually read most of your book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't even know that was you, which is really odd.
Oh, wow.
I had got, it was in a hotel room
Here,
some years ago, I'm not that old, but quite some time. It was someone's book they'd left. I didn't want to take it with me, but I got through quite a bit of it. So now I'm looking, I'm like, I have to go back and read the rest of the book now because I had no idea, randomly. So I didn't know you were an author.
Mm-hmm.
And then following that trail, I had no idea that you were a writer as well, a TV writer.
Yeah.
And looking back, they're all shows I used to watch. Like Tour of Duty is still one of my all-time favorite shows. To this day it is. And doing some research, just like, wow, that's really cool. Like, and the I hate to use big words, but like juxtaposition, Tour of Duty versus like Hitchcock Presents.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a big jump.
Well, it was you know, basically it was whatever anybody offered me.
Yeah.
But Tour of Duty was the first show that I wrote for that had an ongoing storyline, ongoing characters. Started out with writing for Hitchcock and the revival, not the 50s series. But those were fun because you weren't stuck with certain characters. It was a different story, different characters every week, and I did a couple of anthology things before I worked for Tour of Duty. And when you're working on a show like Tour of Duty, you have to stick with the characters that exist already, and you have to understand their backstories. But I came onto that show fairly early in the process, so a lot of that wasn't completely established, and there was a fair amount of freedom to just write what I felt like writing.
When you were writing for the show, this is just cute in there, because you have a military background, you were a Marine, right?
Yeah.
Did that help with that?
Oh yeah. Well, for one thing, it helped me get the job because I was that show and an HBO show called Vietnam War Story. They were both actively recruiting writers who were Vietnam vets. So I have no idea how my writing career would have progressed if it hadn't been for that, because they were looking for guys like me, and there weren't that many of us. And I, at one time, I was probably one of a handful of 5 or 6 guys in the business who supposedly could write about Vietnam and Vietnam veterans from a personal experience perspective. And so there was a lot of, I got a lot of calls based on that. And not necessarily the quality of my work, just the fact that I halfway knew what I was talking about.
It's not something you would expect, though. Get out of service and join the Marine Corps so you can become famous. Yeah.
Well,
you're well-known writer and actor. Famous, quite a jump.
It was. I guess you could say going to Vietnam was a pretty good career move. But
that's something most people say.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky that way.
Yeah, it's very cool though. It's a neat transition.
Well, and then that turned into my first big break as an actor. Was playing a Vietnam vet in a movie about Vietnam vets, In Country, with Bruce Willis. And so, it was, you never know where life's going to lead you, and where some perhaps really negative experience can turn into something really rewarding. If the dice fall the way you need them to.
Now, did that jump? Did you anticipate going into acting? Had you ever thought of it, or was it just sort of a let's just?
From the time I was in my first play in college, after I got out of the Marine Corps, I was going to be an actor. That's all I cared about. I began writing plays just because, I don't know, I guess I had a story or two to tell. And, but the plays led me to writing for television. A play of mine was produced in Los Angeles, and very successfully so. And a big agent came and saw it and signed me and started getting me jobs writing for television. But I always intended to be an actor. Writing was just something I did kind of on the side. And when there was a point while I was writing for television that the way the industry worked, the way they hired writers for television changed, and freelancers such as myself were suddenly pretty much eliminated. And I didn't want to go on staff anywhere because I thought it would get in the way of acting. And but I was lucky at about the time they were going to stop hiring me as a writer anyway if I didn't go on staff. I started getting acting work. So, and I never really looked back. I haven't, I still write plays and screenplays, but I don't write them with any kind of desperation or need to make a living from it. I just do it because every once in a while I've got a story to tell. And, but I always told them that, you know, if I get work acting, this writing stuff is over.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
agents weren't crazy about that.
You haven't had too much trouble recently getting.
Well, you know, it was a long, hard slog for a lot of years, and then, well, in 2002, when I landed the job on Deadwood, that turned everything around. And Deadwood came at pretty much the lowest point in my acting career. I wasn't sure I had a new baby, and I wasn't sure I could support my family. I just wasn't working enough, and then Deadwood came along, and everything turned around, and I've worked really steadily ever since. It's been 13 years now, and it's been a great, great run. I think it's just, as it is with a lot of actors, it's if you hang around long enough, maybe that special door opens, and you're the guy standing in front of it when it opens. But you know, that's not to say it's all you know, truffles and Dom Perignon now, but it's steady, and steadiness is something that most actors never get.
It probably takes a certain level of stress off from that. So
I'm at the point now, I'm also at the age now where, okay, if I work, great. I'd like to work. I love to work. I want to work until I drop dead, maybe in 70 years. When I'm 100. When I'm 100.
Yeah, let's just leave it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
But at the same time, you know, it takes an awful lot off your shoulders in terms of doing your best work if you can go in and do your work without worrying about whether you're going to feed the family. If I go into a meeting or an audition now, it's well, if I get it, great. If I don't get it, nobody's going to starve to death, and because something else will come along. You know, the vast majority of actors never get to experience that freedom from stress. And I got all kinds of other stresses. I got a 14-year-old daughter.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We'll just say that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's a great kid, but she's a 14-year-old girl.
She's still a 14-year-old girl. Yeah.
So
to all our 14-year-old fans, we apologize.
No, I like her a lot. She just keeps me up nights. So
how does she feel about? Because when their kids get to that certain age where you're probably pretty cool to stuff you're doing, and now is it not as cool anymore?
It depends. If it's just the two of us, I'm still pretty cool.
Yeah.
If there's a third person present, then I'm pretty much a moron.
Yep, that sounds about right.
And Yeah. So there's a certain amount of humorous disdain for me if there's anybody else around to see it. But I think she's proud of me. But you know, she wouldn't be caught dead letting anybody know that.
Yeah.
So
Fair enough. Fair enough. So with Supernatural, and we'll go for a few minutes. You can cut whenever you want. It's fun. So cut that part. With Supernatural, you're still there. Kind of.
Kind of.
So you're still part of the cast, and you come and go in a way that sort of bit players come and go, but you're always there. And I know the fans are rabid.
Yeah.
So the thought of someone taking your place, they go insane over that. We had a wonderful talk with DJ last year, and the death threats he's received from stuff and things like that. So over the years.
Yeah, well.
What is that? Because I mean, Deadwood was a very popular show for a specific demographic. Obviously, the kids and so they weren't really watching Deadwood. Hopefully, great show. But this is, I wouldn't say it's family entertainment, but it has a family focus on that sort of demographic. So,
well, the show itself is so much about family, and you know, I had a line in the 3rd or 4th season where I said, "Family don't end with blood," and that line has been taken into their hearts by the fans, and I think it's their experience of the show and it's their experience of the fandom. There's a communal aspect to the fandom and to the show and to the combination of the two that is different from anything I've ever been part of. We have lots of Deadwood fans, still do. Lots of Breaking Bad and Justified fans. They're passionate, but Supernatural fans that's a whole different kettle of fish.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Scarily so sometimes, but
but it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's largely people of goodwill coming together to share a sense of goodwill.
Yeah.
And boy, you can't beat that. It's one of the most amazing and wonderful things that's ever happened to me in my life is becoming part of this. I'm well aware that somebody else could have got the part, and everybody would love him. But I happened to land it, and the fans have embraced me and the character, and it's kind of miraculous, but I enjoy it, and I really enjoy the family feel I get.
Cool.
And there are a lot worse shows you could be on, and there are a lot worse fandoms you could be connected with.